All right, so the Trump administration pardoned this guy, Juan Orlando Hernandez, who's the former president of Honduras. So he was convicted, actually. So this is the actual receipt from the U.S. Archives or the U.S. Justice Department. Juan Orlando Hernandez, former president of Honduras, sentenced to 45 years in prison for conspiring to distribute more than 400 tons of cocaine and related firearms offenses. And that was Wednesday, June 26, 2024. This press release came out. So now let's just sit that right here, okay? And it says Hernandez conspired with some of the largest drug traffickers in the world to transport tons of cocaine through Honduras to the United States. All right? This is the guy who just got pardoned by President Trump. All right? I just want to juxtapose that DOJ press release with this next headline. So Honduras, a narco state made in the United States. Although Juan Orlando Hernandez was convicted of drug trafficking in a New York court, the United States has yet to own up to its role in fostering state-sponsored drug trafficking in Honduras. So, if you are a corporate media consumer and you don't think that the United States would do anything bad like drug trafficking, that's something only black and brown people do, then I think you need to know who this man is. This is Gary Webb. So he was an investigative journalist. He was working at the San Jose Mercury News when he was publishing this series there called Dark Alliance. So he was investigating the connection between the CIA, the Contras, so the Iran-Contra scandal, and drug trafficking, and its impact on the Los Angeles crack cocaine epidemic, okay? He made this connection. So if you want to learn more about it, I think it was a compilation of those writings from the San Jose Mercury News that was made into a book called Dark Alliance in 1998. I need to actually pick that book up, but I did see the movie. There was a movie made of this. I don't remember what year. It might have been like 2014, but fact check me on that. I don't remember. But the movie was called Kill the Messenger that tells this story. So shout out to Gary Webb. Shout out to investigative journalists who get at the truth and not just on the payroll like the CIA or the State Department to just tell you what they want you to think, right? Shout out to Gary Webb and all real journalists out there. And look, the tragic story of Gary Webb. So he suicided himself. He unalived himself because, they pretty much ruined this guy, ruined his reputation, said he was lying, all types of things. It's really messed up. Watch the movie. I don't remember it too vividly. I watched it when it first came out, but I really should watch it again. Shout out to Gary Webb. May he rest in peace. So, moving on. We got Secretary Marco Rubio, or AKA Narco Rubio. And this is what he says about Maduro. Maduro is not the president of Venezuela, and his regime is not the legitimate government because, the United States says so. Maduro is the head of the Cartel de los Sols. I need evidence that this cartel even exists, bro. I swear, the U.S. government just makes up anything just to justify an invasion to go steal people's shit. But anyways, Cartel de los Sols, a narco-terror organization which has taken possession of a country, and he is under indictment for pushing drugs into the United States. Okay, an indictment is just an indictment. That's not a conviction. He's already treating him like he's guilty. And plus, who are you? Who are you, the State Department, to be just bringing cases against heads of state somewhere else that you don't have jurisdiction over? This is some real Monroe Doctrine shit. And we're going to talk more about that when we look at the new 2025, the National Security Plan, the 33-pager, which is like Monroe Doctrine. This is our hemisphere and we own everything in it. So we have jurisdiction over everybody because we say so type. Okay, bro. So anyways, as I said, Narco Rubio. On the left, we got the Miami New Times, a reminder that Marco Rubio's brother-in-law was a prolific cocaine trafficker. This was July 14th, 2025. This was published. While Trump deports immigrants for old drug charges, Rubio's brother-in-law was the front man of a drug trafficking operation. Then we go over here on Slate. Marco Rubio lobbied regulator for drug trafficking brother-in-law to get real estate license. I wonder if it's the same brother-in-law that was operating as a front man of a drug trafficking operation. I assume it is. Yeah, so how about that? So are you seeing something? I hope you guys are picking up some things here because, all right. So here we have Biden standing with Juan Orlando Hernandez. So remember, foreign policy is bipartisan. The U.S. is run by a one-party system. Only culture warriors and the brain dead, and people who are brain dead enough to stay stuck in that culture war paradigm cannot comprehend this fact, right? So here's Biden's thing with Juan Orlando Hernandez. And this is Representative Claudia Tenney. And let's see what she says about Maduro. The threat from Maduro's regime has been clear for years. America would not be intimidated by cartels or terror links. Under POTUS, which is Trump, hostile powers in our hemisphere will be held to account. So they just give themselves carte blanche to rule over the Western Hemisphere and decide who gets to and who doesn't get to be in power. It says here in the caption of this, it says Fox News, Trump gave Maduro ultimatum to flee Venezuela as land operations loom. Who the fuck are you to be giving somebody an ultimatum? Somebody that was democratically elected by the black and brown and indigenous people of that country. And the Fox News tweet says, exit or else, Trump admin delivered a stern ultimatum to Nicolas Maduro to leave Venezuela immediately before Trump announced the country's airspace would be closed, according to a report. How are you closing another country's airspace? This makes no sense. I mean, well, Trump will say things. I mean, he's a raging narcissist. So, I mean, he likes the idea of thinking that he's like the ruler supreme of the universe. But as you can see here, Claudia Tenney talking about how the U.S. has to overthrow Maduro because he runs a drug cartel. Source, the United States government, because if the United States says so, then it's clearly the unbridled truth. All right, so let's take a closer look. Yeah, so we got that. All right, so here we go with Trump. To all airlines, pilots, drug dealers, and human traffickers, please consider the airspace above this and surrounding Venezuela to be closed in its entire. This guy is a clown. Drug dealers and human traffickers. Bro, you want to release the Epstein files. So now all the pedos are in Venezuela. They're the human traffickers, the sex traffickers now. Come on, man. It's just, the United States government is just a comedy show. A comedy reality TV show. It's a reality TV show that they really think they really believe this reality, but the rest of us are just mocking them because like it's like a Truman Show situation, but they don't know that they're in it. I don't know. They're just self-awareness, or I don't know. Maybe they do, but I it's some kind of psychosis. I don't know what's going on with these elites, man. It's like they're cosplaying the role so much that it starts to become their reality, so to speak, you know? And I love how you always end tweets with, thank you for your attention to this matter. I do get a kick out of that. Anyway, let's listen to what Max Blumenthal from the Gray Zone, what he had to say here. So, while waging a fake anti-drug war in Venezuela, Trump will pardon the convicted narco president Juan Orlando Hernandez, who trafficked 500 plus tons of drugs into the United States, mainly because he figures in Washington's plot to manipulate Honduran elections. Raul Pineda, a Honduran lawyer and analyst who worked in his country's council to fight drug trafficking, explained to the Gray Zone that Hernandez's main achievement was to create a fourth estate of the drug trafficking within the Republican model of governance. Hernandez began to replace the old narco kingpins with institutional tracking, where military personnel and police were used for protection, along with the cover of prosecutors and judges, Pineda said. He tried to replace narcos with elected military personnel, with police officers, and with elected politicians accompanied by an entire structure of media, opinion leaders, and organized political groups. This sounds like industrial scale deception and corruption, just like we have here in the United States. According to Pineda, Hernandez transformed Honduras into a pivotal transit center for the drug trade. He built 6 airports in a country of 9 million inhabitants. In each airport, some of which have recently had 3 plane accidents in 1 year, had the sole function of being logistical platforms for drug trafficking. So instead of the plane landing on a dirt road, it landed on a paved runway and they paid for using it. Even though the U.S. knew Hernandez was a prolific drug trafficker, the DEA worked with him to provide the illusion of an anti-narcotics policy. The DEA has very little credibility in the world of interdiction agencies, Pineda said. After all, the DEA's highest decoration was awarded to Manuel Noriega, and the head of the Southern Command repeatedly came to Hernandez to praise the virtues of Don Juan Orlando Hernandez. Damn. So, look, the whole world knows that this is all geopolitical. Okay, this is naked U.S. Monroe Doctrine colonial gangsterism. Okay, the November 2025 National Security Strategy tells you everything you need to know, and I'm gonna do a video on that. It's 33 pages. Oh, and real quick, just a sidebar. Tweet from Nick here, Socialist MMA. Fantastic follow. Shout out RBN. Donald Trump pardons corrupt Democrat Henry Cuellar. The two-party system is a scam. We have a uniparty where the capitalist elite keeps sending a loud message that they are above the law, 100%. We have elite immunity. This whole red versus blue scam is just that. Behind closed doors, they love each other, guys. It's like George Bush hugged up with Michelle Obama. You know, it's one big purple party. This is a class war. American people don't get what they want because the U.S. government spends all our taxpayer money siphoning our wealth off the top through money laundering schemes with all this military adventurism is. And we have terrible health outcomes and people are in massive debt and the cost of living is just going up. People had to go time without SNAP benefits. Come on, man. So anyway, like I was saying, this is just naked U.S. Monroe Doctrine colonial imperial gangsterism. It's the insolvent West going to steal people's shit. They want to take control of Venezuela's oil so the rich American elite can privatize it for themselves and have Venezuelans and black, brown, indigenous Venezuelans live as cheap laborers and living off of $1 a day. That's what this is all about. And thinking of this in geopolitical terms, they want to overthrow a BRICS-friendly government. All right. So the U.S. military and NATO, by extension, showed itself to be a paper tiger to me. In a military fight they provoked against Russia on this border in Ukraine. So they need a win. They need a win. But most importantly, they need to loot because they're insolvent. The insolvent West coming to steal your shit to pay off their own debts. All right. So hopefully you guys keep an eye out on Venezuela. Don't let up. I think something's going to happen. I know I said this last time, but it just seems like something is imminent and we just got to hope Venezuela survives this. So anyways, like, share, subscribe. Peace out.